Istanbul is the most visited city in the world, with over 20 million annual visitors. The beating heart of Turkey is a place unlike any other. A city on two continents where European culture meets the Orient. Is Istanbul overrated, or is it really world's best city? Let's find out. Stretching between the Black Sea and the Sea of Marmara, the Bosphorus Strait is more than just a natural boundary. It has been the lifeblood of ancient empires and modern nations. This narrow strait between Europe and Asia has witnessed the rise and fall of great civilizations. A turning point in history occurred in 1453 when the Ottoman Empire set its sights on Constantinople, the capital of the Byzantine Empire. Finally, they conquered the city under the leadership of the aspirational Sultan Mehmed II. Today, his legacy can be seen everywhere. One of Istanbul's 3 suspension bridges, the Fatih Sultan Mehmet Bridge, was named after him. However, the most famous and scenic bridge here is the Bosphorus Bridge. It was completed in 1973 and was renamed the 15th July Martyrs Bridge in honour of the civilians who lost their lives during the attempted coup on July 15, 2016. Thanks to its LED lighting, the bridge is an iconic part of Istanbul's nighttime skyline and creates an unforgettable impression when illuminated at night. The history of the magnificent old Hagia Sophia is just as complicated as that of Istanbul itself. Constantine I, the Great, the first Christian emperor of Rome, is thought to have ordered the construction of the original Hagia Sophia. Emperor Justinian I made the decision to construct a brand new, even bigger and more spectacular basilica, after the first 2 were destroyed during riots. As the seat of the Orthodox Patriarch of Constantinople, Hagia Sophia served as the venue for Byzantine rituals like emperor coronations. After the Ottoman conquest, the Hagia Sophia Church, or Church of Holy Wisdom, was converted to a mosque, and in 1935, Ataturk issued an order turning it into a museum. The primary function of this famous monument was altered again in 2020, and it once more became a functioning mosque under the new official name of the Hagia Sophia Holy Grand Mosque. It's a huge building that is 75 metres long, 70 metres broad, and 60 metres high. Thanks to its centuries-long dual religious use, the interior is an intriguing fusion of Byzantine and Ottoman elegance. It's illuminated by countless windows and is centred around the spectacular 32-metre diameter central dome. Today, Hagia Sophia is one of the most recognisable tourist attractions worldwide and can be visited outside of prayer times. The origin of the Galata Tower is still a bit of a mystery. In the year 527, the Byzantines constructed Megalos Pyrgos, a wooden tower that was subsequently destroyed. The Genoese constructed the existing tower in 1348 as a component of broader fortifications. Galata Tower has seen many uses throughout the ages, including defence watchtower, jail, fire detection tower, meteorological observatory, and, most recently, observatory deck and museum. The tower has withstood stormy times and numerous renovations and renamings by different rulers. A popular legend surrounding the tower centres on the great Ottoman aviator Hezafen Ahmet Çelebi. Legend has it that he flew from the top of the tower to Doğancılar Square in Üsküdar while wearing wooden wings fastened to his arms. Due to his remarkable achievement, the man was viewed with suspicion by the then Sultan Murad Khan, who ordered him into exile in Algeria. Today, the tower is accessible to the public. You have 2 options: use the elevator or climb the 146 stairs within the tower. In Istanbul, football isn't just a sport, it's a way of life and sheer madness. The city's football scene is dominated by 3 major clubs, Galatasaray, Fenerbahce and Beşiktaş, with 2 lesser-known but equally zealous clubs, Kasımpaşa and Istanbul Başakşehir. Fenerbahce is the most ambitious of them. Every season begins with high hopes and dreams. Unfortunately, more often than not, it ends in a disaster. Galatasaray is the golden child of Turkish football. They usually dominate the league and are the only Turkish club with a European title. The oldest of the big three, Beşiktaş, was established in 1903. Famous for their chants and socio-political activism, the Beşiktaş fans don't just support their team, they live and breathe it. Istanbul Başakşehir is the newest addition to Istanbul's football elite. They've quickly risen to prominence, culminating in a league title in 2020. Of course, their sudden rise has nothing to do with significant government backing. On match days, the city transforms into a battlefield of noise and colour, and you should watch a game live to feel the incredible atmosphere. But beware, wearing the wrong shirt in the wrong part of town can lead to some, shall we say, less than pleasant experiences. Verbal abuse is the mildest consequence. A Bosphorus tour will bring you to a number of interesting and luxurious structures, but the 600-metre-long Dolmabahce Palace is without a doubt the most extravagant of them all. The last 6 Ottoman Empire sultans lived in this magnificent building, which is the largest palace in Turkey and among the most luxurious in the world. 36 tons of gold, or 5 million Ottoman gold lira, were needed to build the palace. In modern terms, this is comparable to about $2 billion. The ceilings of the palace were gilded using 15 tons of gold. In Turkish, Dolmabahce means filled-in garden. The palace was constructed during the reign of Sultan Abdülmecid I between 1843 and 1856. Its architecture reflects the growing influence of Europe during that time. It blends elements of traditional Turkish architecture and way of life with European styles like Baroque, Rococo and Neoclassicism. The palace is 45,000 square metres in size, with 285 rooms and 46 halls. The Galata Bridge holds a special place in Turkish culture. It has been featured in countless works of literature, music and film. For instance, the bridge often appears in the novels of the famous Turkish author Orhan Pamuk, who uses it to illustrate the intersection of different worlds within Istanbul. The first recorded bridge at this location was constructed in 1845 by Sultan Mahmud II. This initial bridge was a simple wooden structure. The modern Galata Bridge, which we see today, was completed in 1994. It spans the Golden Horn and not only connects the historic districts of Sultanahmet and Beyoğlu, but also symbolises the fusion of old and new Istanbul. The bridge is about 500 metres long and has a unique design that allows both vehicular traffic on its upper level and pedestrian walkways and restaurants on its lower level. Every day you can see dozens of fishermen lined up along the railing, casting their lines into the waters below. This daily ritual is part of the local lifestyle. Rumeli Castle, or Rumeli Hisarı as the locals call it, was built in 1452 by Sultan Mehmed II. Yes, that's the same Mehmed who decided Constantinople would look better as Istanbul. He built this castle in just 4 months. Think about that the next time you're procrastinating on a personal project. This fortress wasn't just for show. It was part of Mehmed's grand plan to conquer Constantinople by cutting off Byzantine supplies via the Bosphorus. Spoiler alert, it worked. Rumeli Castle is made up of 13 minor towers, 1 small tower and 3 large towers that are all in excellent shape. The fortress lost its military relevance following the capture of Constantinople in 1453. From the 17th century until the 19th century, it was used as a customs checkpoint and a prison. Within the castle, a community with homes, stores and mosques emerged in the 1800s. But in the 1950s, the neighbourhood was completely devastated. Today, this majestic castle is a public open-air museum. Taksim Square is the most famous square in Istanbul. In the past, the water lines used to converge here before being redirected to other areas of the city. The square was at the far north of the city until the turn of the 20th century, but as Istanbul expanded, it became the centre of the new town. Taksim Square is surrounded by a large number of hotels, bars and clubs along Istiklal Street. This area is busy 24 hours a day. The square is also an established spot for locals to watch concerts or parades. The Independence Monument, which Pietro Canonica designed to commemorate the Republic of Turkey's founding, is the most prominent feature of Taksim. The square is also where the famous vintage tram that travels the pedestrian shopping street Istiklal comes to a stop. The famous Topkapi Palace is located behind Hagia Sophia on the Bosphorus shore in the Sultanahmet district. It was the centre of the administrative, educational and cultural domains of the Ottoman Empire from the 15th until the middle of the 19th century. It's interesting to note that the palace was a micro-city inside the metropolis. At its height, it was home to 4,000 individuals. State meetings, coronations and royal weddings took place here. Today, Topkapi is the most important museum on the Balkan Peninsula. When you enter the Imperial Gate, you're greeted by the first courtyard. This area was the primary public space and a place where citizens could present petitions to the Sultan. The second courtyard was the seat of administration. Here, you'll find the Imperial Council Hall, where the Sultan's advisors would meet to discuss the pressing issues of the day. Entering the third courtyard, guests find themselves in the Sultan's private area, the Inner Palace. You can find the entrance to the harem under the Tower of Justice, located on the western side of the second courtyard. If you choose to explore this area, you'll need to buy a special ticket. In 1853, Sultan Abdülmecid abandoned Topkapi and moved his seat to Dolmabahce Palace. The Grand Bazaar in the Sultanahmet district has been around since the 15th century as a project of Sultan Mehmed Fatih. It's the oldest and largest market in the world. It's a bit of a surprise to hear that the bazaar is also the world's most visited tourist attraction, with over 90 million annual visitors. Its current layout, with 45,000 square metres of floor area, is the result of renovations carried out following the 1984 earthquake. This place is basically a glorified tourist trap, disguised as a cultural landmark. You'll certainly be stunned by the architectural mishmash of domed roofs, mosaics and alleys that make up the Grand Bazaar. It's like someone took a crash course in Ottoman design and urban planning and decided to throw everything they learned into one chaotic but very beautiful mix. The Beyazıt Gate, located just across from the Beyazıt tram station, is the major entrance. However, there are 21 gates in total. Currently, the Grand Bazaar employs around 10,000 people. Visiting the bazaar is more than just shopping. It's more about mastering the art of bargaining. Haggling is a normal practice here. A few vendors will always try to push customers to buy, and you should stay away from them. It is always acceptable for visitors to leave the shop without making a purchase. Istanbul's Sultanahmet Mosque is almost as famous as the nearby Hagia Sophia. It was constructed between 1609 and 1616 under the reign of Ahmed I. He used money from the treasury, which infuriated certain officials because his predecessors had spent the spoils of war to build impressive landmarks. The inside walls of the mosque are surrounded by blue tiles, which have earned it the nickname Blue Mosque. It represents the zenith of Ottoman religious architecture and is the last grand mosque of the classical period of the Ottoman Empire. During construction, there was debate around the mosque's 6 minarets. It was unusual for another mosque to have the same number of minarets as the mosque in Mecca, which also had 6. The Sultan ordered the mosque in Mecca to be expanded with a 7th minaret in order to solve this issue. Another tourist attraction is the courtyard of the mosque. It has the largest courtyard of all Ottoman mosques and has a beautiful central fountain. Istanbul has always been a city defined by migration. While some food types are exclusive to the city, others have been introduced by residents of other villages and towns. The Ottomans were known for their lavish feasts, and that love for good food trickled down to the streets. Istanbul's street food is more than just a quick bite. It's a reflection of the city's soul. Each dish tells a story of tradition, culture, and the love of good food. Doner kebab is the king of street food here. Thin slices of meat are stacked on a vertical rotisserie, slowly roasted to perfection. The outer layers are shaved off as they cook, and the meat is typically served in a wrap or sandwich. Buying a small paper bag filled with chestnuts and taking it for a walk around the city is a delightful way to pass a chilly winter's day. There is also a local tradition of coming to Galata Bridge and having a fresh fish sandwich. Most tourists visiting Istanbul for the first time tend to stick to the European side of the city, but things are about to change. Set on the Asian side of Istanbul and facing the Marmara Sea, the Kadiköy district, and its Moda neighbourhood in particular, have seen an unexpected rise in popularity in recent years. As soon as you step off the ferry at Kadiköy, you're immediately hit with a wave of energy. The locals here are just doing their thing. Street musicians play traditional tunes, and the aroma of Turkish coffee spreads from local cafes. Compared to the rest of the city, Kadiköy feels much more modern. The Moda neighbourhood's streets are lined with clubs. Kadiköy's streets are like an open-air gallery. The graffiti here is unquestionably street art, representing the hipster subculture. These artworks often tell stories about the community and its history. Kadiköy is also a centre of culture and creativity. There are many theatres, galleries, and cultural institutions in the district. Kadiköy is to Istanbul what Brooklyn is to New York City, a residential area that serves residents first rather than tourists. This also means that you'll get excellent food and drink for a much lower price than you would in the major tourist areas. If you want to conquer your fear of heights, there is no better place in Turkey than the Istanbul Sapphire. Standing tall at 261 metres, it's not just a building, it's a statement. Completed in 2010, this skyscraper stands in the business district of Levent. It held the title of the tallest building in Turkey and the Balkan region for quite some time. One of the highlights is its observation deck, known as the Sapphire Observation Deck. Located on the 54th floor, it offers a 360-degree view of the city. A restaurant offers a unique dining experience here. The deck also features a 4D sky ride, which takes you on a virtual helicopter tour over Istanbul. For those who love to shop, the Sapphire Market offers many high-end retail stores. A boat tour of the Bosphorus is an absolute must, among all the things you may do in this wonderful city. If you book your private Bosphorus cruise with reliable companies, you'll get excellent value for your money. As soon as you set sail, you'll have views of prominent sites and palaces around the coasts of Europe and Asia. Throughout the journey, the boat will pass by iconic sites such as the Hagia Sophia, Ortaköy Mosque, Bosphorus Bridge, Dolmabahce Palace, and the Golden Horn. Many tours include meals or snacks, giving you a taste of authentic Turkish dishes. We suggest taking a short Bosphorus cruise, if you're in Istanbul only for a short period of time. On a long tour, the boats make a 3-hour stop in the Anadolu Kava area. Apart from a few highly touristic restaurants and boutiques, this area doesn't provide much of interest. Although renting a private boat is more expensive than going on a group excursion, you will receive a more individualized welcome. Süleyman ruled as the Ottoman Empire's longest reigning sultan from 1520 to 1566. Because of the peace and justice that characterized his reign, many people described him as a second Solomon. The Süleymaniye Mosque was completed in 1557 as a tribute to Süleyman. It stands in the Fatih district on the third hill of Istanbul. The mosque, which was built by the acclaimed architect Mimar Sinan, is known as one of his greatest works and his largest building. Süleymaniye Mosque has quite a dramatic history. It got hit by a massive fire back in 1660, and when it was restored, they gave it a Baroque makeover that messed with its original vibe. During World War I, the courtyard was turned into a weapons depot. This caused another fire when some ammunition went off. The mosque didn't get a proper restoration until 1956. The large complex also has a hospital, a library, and a religious school. The mosque itself is open for visitors. If you are near the Grand Bazaar, it's just a 10-minute walk. If you're looking for an epic day out with your family in Istanbul, look no further than Vialand. This theme park is situated in Istanbul's Eyüp neighbourhood. It offers a variety of theme park rides, a shopping centre, and an entertainment complex across a large area. Basically, it's a giant playground for adults who refuse to grow up. Therefore, Vialand has everything you need, whether you're an adrenaline addict, a shopaholic, or you just want to explore. Nefeskazan, or Breathtaker, is Vialand's signature roller coaster, and trust us, the name doesn't lie. With its insane drops and loops, it'll leave you breathless and questioning your life choices. For those who love to defy gravity, the 360 ride spins you around and upside down. Right next to the theme park is a massive shopping mall. Vialand offers several kinds of live events and performances all day long. On stage, there is always something amusing to watch, from spectacular acrobatics to interesting musicals. The park gets pretty busy, especially on weekends and holidays. Arriving early means shorter lines and more time to enjoy the rides. The Maiden's Tower is a lighthouse-style tower built on a tiny island right at the Bosphorus Strait's entrance. This tower's most famous incarnation is from the James Bond film The World Is Not Enough, even though it has stood here for hundreds of years. In the year 1110, the Emperor Alexios Komnenos is said to have constructed a wooden tower with a stone wall surrounding it. The tower was connected to the Asian coast by a wall, the traces of which are still visible today. It takes only a short walk to reach the tower from the Üsküdar Marmaray station on the Asian side of the city. Regular boat transfers occur from the shore to the tower. If you are pressed for time, you might just want to view it from the coast. It merely takes a few minutes to travel by ferry from Istanbul's harbour to Maiden's Tower. The cost of the trip there is really low each way. If Istanbul is on your bucket list, we truly hope you're an animal lover, particularly a cat lover. Countless cats can be seen walking around Istanbul's streets. They can be seen everywhere, in the rear corner of a mosque, perched on a pole, strolling along a balcony, or relaxing in a store window. You may be wondering, given the number of stray cats, what condition they possibly be in, and the answer is excellent. Although they may be strays, they are unquestionably adored, and appear to be happy cats overall. It appears like everyone in the neighbourhood is watching out for these kitties. Scattered all over Istanbul, there are cat food dispensers that operate by sticking in a scent. Chances are that cats will approach you in a restaurant and ask you for some food if you're seated there. Even buses and trams, which they occasionally take on their own, are happy to have them. Julien Vieux, better known as Pierre Loti, was a French writer who wrote a lot about Istanbul. His love for the city inspired the residents to name a very picturesque hill in his honour. The hill has a special vantage point to view the Golden Horn, the key urban waterway, and the main Bosphorus Strait inlet. It has some historic cemeteries and a lush vegetation. There is also a very popular Turkish tea house, where guests can have some Turkish coffee or tea. The Istanbul cable car connects Pierre Loti Hill to the Eyüp district. The Eyüp Pierre Loti aerial cable car, as it is formally called, offers a quick and scenic way to the top. Launched in 2005, the cable car system has 2 cabins that can carry up to 8 passengers each and move on a single line. One of the biggest thematic aquariums in the world can be found in the Florya Quarter. The Istanbul Aquarium was inaugurated in 2011 and spans 22,000 square metres. It has more than 1,500 various types of aquatic life. The aquarium, which has 64 tanks with a combined capacity of over 6,800 cubic metres of water, presents freshwater and marine life from all over the world. There is a rainforest area and 17 other themes separated throughout the aquarium. You can go diving at the aquarium and have up-close encounters with sharks. For those who are brave enough, it's an exciting chance. Don't worry, safety measures are strictly enforced. At least we hope so. For a more relaxed but equally engaging experience, check out the 5D cinema. This small theatre uses 3D film technology combined with physical effects like wind, water spray and motion seats to create a realistic experience. Being the most famous street in Istanbul, Istiklal Street, or Independence Street, runs for around 3 kilometers from Taksim Square to the Tunal Square. The street became a pedestrian zone in the 1990s. Around this boulevard, Istanbul's cultural life centers heavily. There are galleries and theatres all along the path. It's a great place to go for a walk and a popular shopping area during the day. The beautiful Art Nouveau buildings placed to the right and left of the street create an amazing atmosphere. Here, much of Istanbul's nightlife happens in the evenings. During the Ottoman era, the street was home to several embassies, and consulates are still located here today. The most famous street in Istanbul has a very European way of life, and it's one of the city's most significant business hubs. Operating since 1914, the nostalgic tram is a famous transportation line that has become a symbol of the city. There are so many places in Istanbul where you can get a good view, but only Camlica Hill gives you a full panorama. The hill on the Asian side of the city is a popular spot for both tourists and residents, particularly after sunset when the views are especially beautiful. There is a large park here as well, where visitors can chill, have picnics, and enjoy the lovely surroundings. Beside the beautiful Camlica Mosque, the imposing Camlica Tower is very popular among visitors. The tower features restaurants and an observation deck at the top, but it is essentially a telecommunications tower. It's huge, and even from over on the European side, it dominates the skyline. To skip the line, especially in the summer, it's a good idea to get your tickets online. You can view kilometers in all directions from the observation platform, which offers a 360-degree view on clear days. The tower is 370 meters high, so thankfully there is an elevator that takes you to the top. Originally reserved for the royal court, Gülhane Park served as Topkapi Palace's outside garden. It was an imperial park until 1912, when it was made public. It's a lively and popular city park these days, perfect for a relaxed weekend picnic. It is regarded as one of Istanbul's oldest public parks. The park has the perfect name Gülhane, or House of Roses, as over 80,000 roses blossom here in the spring and summer, and thousands of tulips line the flower beds. Oh, sure, everyone just knows that tulips are as Dutch as windmills and clogs. But surprise, those lovely flowers actually come from Turkey. They were introduced to Northern Europe in the 16th century, and their popularity grew rapidly. As a matter of fact, Turkey was the birthplace of several cultivated types that were later brought to European gardens. During the Istanbul Tulip Festival in March and April, millions of tulip flowers decorate Gülhane Park. Istanbul is home to many incredibly gorgeous palaces. The Ottomans had an affinity for doing things bigger, better, and with extra gold and decoration. One of these palaces is Beylerbeyi Palace, which was used by several Ottoman Empire sultans as their summer palace. This neo-Baroque palace, which was constructed in 1865, has 24 apartments, 6 large halls, and a hammam. There are enormous crystal chandeliers, grand stairs, clocks, artwork, and porcelain wherever you look. The outside is made of white marble. You can walk around to your heart's content, and there are rarely large crowds, but there is a nominal entrance fee. Before Sultan Abdülhamid II passed away in 1918, he spent 6 long years imprisoned in Beylerbeyi Palace. He carved a great deal of the original furniture during this period, much of which is still in excellent condition today. If you're into some underground adventures, Istanbul got you covered. Imagine yourself exploring Istanbul and coming upon an obscure entrance. After a few steps, you find yourself in the underground palace known as Basilica Cistern. This massive subterranean reservoir was constructed in the year 532 by Emperor Justinian with the intention of supplying water to Constantinople's great palace. Known by many as Yerebatan Sarnıcı, or the Cistern of Philoxenos. The cistern is around 140 metres long and 70 metres wide, with the capacity to contain 80,000 cubic metres of water. There are 336 marble columns in 12 rows of 28. each standing around 9 meters tall. The shallow water reflects the soft ambient lighting, creating beautiful, eerie shadows. The bases of 2 columns are decorated with Medusa heads, making them stand out. The cistern is also a great spot to escape Istanbul's summer heat. The walkways here can be a bit slippery, so wear good shoes and walk carefully. Of all the mosques in Istanbul, the Ortaköy Mosque must have the most scenic surroundings because it sits right before the Bosphorus Bridge. Constructed upon the site of a mosque from the 18th century, the present building was finished in 1855. Just like the nearby Dolmabahce Palace, it was designed by the Armenian architects Garabet Balyan and his son Nigoaios. Its ornate exterior and huge windows that let in plenty of light into its simpler interior give it a neo-Baroque character. Each of the 2 lofty minarets has a solitary balcony. It is open from 9 to 18 o'clock, like most mosques, but is closed for tourists during prayer times. Although donations are welcome, entrance is free. Istanbul is also a centre of consumerism. Back in the early 2000s, the city looked at other shopping malls in the world and said, "Hold my baklava." The huge Cevahir shopping mall was opened in 2005, being the largest mall in Europe at that time. Set in the centre of Istanbul's Şişli district, in the European part of the city, the mall is a popular destination for shopping and entertainment. With more than 300 businesses spread across 6 floors and an amazing 430,000 square meters, this massive retail complex provides an unmatched shopping experience. The massive glass ceiling in the center atrium lets in lots of natural light and provides a light and airy feeling. The mall's size, while impressive, can be a double-edged sword. It's easy to get lost, and the crowds can be overwhelming, especially during peak times. If you decide to go on a shopping spree, the mall is just a short metro ride from Taksim Square. If you want to spice up your life, we can highly recommend you the Spice Bazaar in the Eminönü district. This popular bazaar was built around 1660 as a component of the new mosque complex. Since the development of the bazaar was financed by the income of the Ottoman province of Egypt, it is also known as the Egyptian Bazaar. The Spice Bazaar started out as a marketplace for herbs, spices, and medicinal plants that were imported from Egypt. It soon developed into a major trading centre for merchants of textiles, spices, and other products. The bazaar has kept much of its historical charm despite changes over time. Today, it's a very popular tourist attraction. Spices, dried fruits, teas, Turkish delight, and other traditional snacks are only a few of the many items available here. You'll also find textiles, jewellery, and souvenirs. If you want to see Turkey in a single day, then we can recommend you Miniatürk. You can find the largest miniature city in the world on the Golden Horn, near the Eyüp district. The park, which is 60,000 square meters in size, opened its doors in 2003 and is one of the most family-friendly attractions of Istanbul. Miniatürk shows these items in a 1 to 25 scale and includes pieces from both Turkey and the former Ottoman provinces. There are 122 models on show in all, 59 of which are from Istanbul and 12 from places outside of Turkey. However, future expansions have been considered. Every civilization that have governed Anatolia or its neighbouring regions has been included here with much effort. There is also a 400-seat amphitheatre, a Miniatürk souvenir shop, and a kid-friendly Miniland play area. Despite being one of the many little neighbourhoods around the Bosphorus, Kuzguncuk neighbourhood plays an important role due to its history of peaceful coexistence. As seen by the mosques and churches that stand side by side, this charming area at the base of the Bosphorus Bridge was home to a mix of Turks, Armenians and Greeks for generations. This is a community where traditional values still hold sway. The cosmopolitan spirit of 19th century Istanbul can still be felt here. Kuzguncuk's streets are lined with lovely wooden houses from the Ottoman era, known as yalas. These houses generally have overhanging balconies and detailed wooden carvings, and are usually painted in cheery colours. The only way you should experience Kuzguncuk is by walking through its streets and simply enjoying the serene atmosphere. Founded in 1891 by the decree of the Ottoman Sultan Abdülhamid II, the Istanbul Archaeological Museums were born out of a necessity to preserve the countless artifacts being discovered throughout the Ottoman Empire. The Archaeology Museum, Ancient Oriental Artifacts Museum, and Tiled Kiosk Museum are the three primary sections of the Istanbul Archaeological Museums complex. The collection of more than 1 million items from different civilizations that were imported from the imperial regions may be found in Turkey's first museum, the Archaeology Museum. This is where you'll find the famous Alexander sarcophagus. It's not actually Alexander the Great's tomb, but it's close enough to create a flurry of excitement for history buffs. The Museum of the Ancient Orient has a growing collection of artifacts from the pre-Islamic cultures of the Middle East. Finally, there's the Tiled Kiosk, with an exquisite collection of Islamic art and ceramics. Istanbul is the city of 1,000 mosques, and the Rustem Pasha Mosque near the Spice Bazaar is just one of many, at least at first glance. It has a rather unassuming exterior, and can be a bit tricky to find. The mosque is dedicated to Rustem Pasha, who was the son-in-law of Suleiman the Magnificent and his Grand Vizier, which is similar to a prime minister in the current era. Work on the mosque started in 1561, following his death. The mosque is a good example of Mimar Sinan's genius. It is smaller than his other works, but it still has a central dome that is supported by arches and semi-domes, giving the impression of open space. It was cleverly designed to raise money for maintenance by being placed on a high terrace with businesses underneath. Its interior and exterior were decorated with 2,300 tiles from the town of Iznik, which is located 90 kilometers southeast of Istanbul on the banks of Lake Iznik. The Yedikule Fortress, also known as the Fortress of Seven Towers, can be found about 5 kilometers southwest of the Sultanahmet district. This particular masterpiece of architecture dates back to Theodosius I's reign in the 5th century. The original doors were enormous and entirely covered in gold, and the fortress was considered as the gateway to what is now Istanbul. Mehmed the Conqueror expanded it with 3 new towers in the 15th century. As a result, the structure was converted from a gate into a real fortress and used as a treasury and prison as well. The fortress was typically used to hold the diplomats of nations at war with the Ottoman Empire. Many French prisoners were imprisoned here during the Napoleonic Wars. Today, the fortress is an open-air museum that you should visit during your stay in the city. So, you're in Istanbul and you've done the whole sightseeing thing. The city's chaos is part of its charm, but maybe you're itching for a chill spot to relax and soak up some sun. Welcome to the Prince's Islands, a cluster of 9 islands, just a ferry ride away. Trust us, it's the low-key paradise you didn't know you needed. Ferries leave from various points in Istanbul, like Kabataş, Eminönü and Kadiköy. The Ottomans appreciated the island's natural beauty and cool breezes, especially as escapes from the scorching heat of Istanbul. The main islands you'll want to hit up are Büyükada, Heybeliada, Burgazada and Kınalıada. Very beautiful names, and so easy to pronounce. One of the best things about the Prince's Islands is that motor vehicles are banned. Yes, no cars. The primary modes of transport are bikes, horse-drawn carriages and electric scooters. The islands are home to several beautiful beaches. Büyükada's Yörükale Beach and Heybeliada's Çamlımanı Beach are some popular spots. If you prefer a quieter beach, head to one of Burgazada's or Kınalıada's hidden coves. Seafood is a must on the islands. Many waterfront restaurants here serve fresh fish. Kücükcekmece Lake is a lagoon on the European side of Istanbul. It is located between the districts of Kücükcekmece to the east and Avcılar to the west, around 15 kilometers west of Istanbul's historical centre. A small strip of land divides the lake from the Sea of Marmara, and a short canal connects the two. By combining fresh water from its tributaries with the salty waters of the sea, this connection affects the lake's water characteristics. Kücükcekmece is a popular recreational place these days. Locals visit this area for picnics, fishing, and enjoying the generally peaceful setting. The lake is an oasis for many different bird species, especially during migratory seasons, which attracts bird watchers on a regular basis. Around the lake, there are also some trails for jogging and walking. Belgrad Forest is a popular recreational area for Istanbul residents and visitors, 15 kilometers north of the city centre. The name Belgrad comes from the Serbian town of Belgrade, from where some people were relocated following the Ottoman conquest of the city. The forest was essential to Istanbul's water supply system during the Ottoman era. A number of reservoirs and aqueducts were constructed to transport water from the forest to the city. Visitors can explore the historical aqueducts and reservoirs within the forest, such as the Varlins Aqueduct and the Topuzlu Dam. The forest is also a great spot for joggers and runners, having designated running paths such as the very popular 6-kilometre-long Neshet Suyu Trail. Key access points to the forest are the entrances near Bahçeköy. There are also several other smaller entrances scattered around the forest perimeter. Do you think Istanbul is the best city in the world? Let us know in the comments. If you loved this video, hit the like button and subscribe for more journeys around the world.